I should change. Not trying to be Kalalandani over here. Hi, I'm Akhil. I'm a former primary REC teacher and current secondary co-teacher for the Ismaili Tariqa and Religious Education Board, and I wanted to review a nursery rhyme that I found. So I was looking up Ismaili nursery rhymes for my sister, and I found one that I've never heard before. It's called Ask Your Teacher, and I figured I'm a teacher, so maybe I can answer these questions. So I'm going to listen to what we should be asking our teacher and see if I know the answer. It'd be great if it worked. It was working a few seconds ago.
Ask your teacher, who is Muhammad?
Muhammad is a merchant from Arabia around the 6th century, born in the 6th century, lived through first part of the 7th century. Muhammad was a Hanif, which means he was an Abrahamic monotheist. He was trying to bring back the OG monotheism. And once when he was meditating in a cave, he was met by an angel who started delivering a recitation for him to share with other people. And then he did that, and lots of people got mad, and then Islam came out of it.
Who is Ali?
Ali is Muhammad's cousin slash son-in-law slash best friend slash roommate.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
And he was also one of the earliest supporters of Muhammad when Muhammad started spreading this message.
What is Islam?
Islam just means submission. So any submission to a higher power would be considered Islam. Christians are Muslims, Jews are Muslims, Zoroastrians are Muslims. MAGA people are Muslims because they believe in the higher power of Donald Trump.
Bruh.
Is that shirk? Am I allowed to say that? Nah, it's fine. It's a joke. Hey, Muslims, that was a joke. In this case, it's people who believe in God, first of all, and Muhammad and the Quran, secondly.
Ask your teacher.
Sorry, I thought he said my name there. Akhil teacher.
What are angels?
Ooh, what are angels? Where to start with angels? So, according to Muslim mythology, there are 3 sentient beings that God created. One of them is humans, that's us. The other one is demons, which are made out of fire, and the other one is angels, which are made out of light. And what makes a sentient being different from all the other beings that God has created is that we can think and we can make decisions. But it kind of falls apart when you look at angels, because angels can make their own decisions and they can choose their own paths in life, but they cannot disobey God except one time, and it's kind of a big deal. In the context of Islam specifically, it was an angel, Gabriel, who brought the message of the Quran to Muhammad in the cave initially. And Gabriel was described at that time as being blinding and suffocating. You can't see it, but it can choke slam you. An angel is like
John C.
A prophet who
prophets. Prophets are defined as people who get messages from the divine and then spread those messages amongst the people. Muhammad, obviously, Prophet Jesus, Prophet Moses, David, Solomon, Noah, Adam, all the heavy hitters that we see in the Quran and the Bible.
are the thieves.
How much you want to bet these are brown people that have never met a non-brown Ismaili? Peer has a different definition depending on which Ismaili you ask. Outside of Ismailism, peers are the teachers and leaders of Sufi schools of thought. Inside Ismailism, they really fall into 2 categories. According to the South Asians, so the brown people, peers are an appointed position. So in order to become a peer, you need to 1, be a teacher of Ismailism, also known as a Dai. 2, you need to be a descendant of Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, which are also called Sayyids. 3, you need to be appointed as a peer by the Imam. The South Asian peer tradition started about 1,000 years ago with Pir Nur than Nur Muhammad. The reason that I specify South Asian is because outside of South Asia, like in Central Asia or Arabia or Persia, you only need to be the first 2 categories to be considered a peer. You need to be a Dai, or someone who teaches Ismailism, and you need to be a Sayyid. That's why when we talk about Nasir Khosrow, he's called Pir, Sayyid, and Dai interchangeably because he fits that later category of he is a Sayyid and a Dai. So in Central Asia, that also makes him a peer.
Ask your teacher, what is Quran?
This is the point where I would hold up a Quran if I had one. The Quran is the recitation that Prophet Muhammad was divinely inspired through the angel Gabriel by God. The book that we call the Quran today is a compilation of those messages There is some controversy around the authenticity of the book that we call the Quran, but pretty much every Muslim agrees that the message is the same as what Prophet Muhammad delivered. The controversy comes from non-Muslims who don't have stakes in whether Islam is true or not.
What is Surah?
I should also probably specify before moving on, the word Quran means recitation. So it's literally what Prophet Muhammad said, right? It's not a document that was handed down to him. It's not anything like that. It's something that is spoken.
What is Surah?
Surah is a chapter of the Quran. So the Quran is broken up into 114 chapters. They are arranged from biggest to smallest for some reason that I don't know.
What is Ayat?
In the context of the Quran, an ayat is a verse of a chapter of the Quran. So if you're looking for something specific, you can cite this sentence in this chapter of the Quran, and it just, sort of helps you find your place. Outside of the Quranic context, ayat is a sign. So any sign from Allah. So like a sunrise, a flower blooming, stuff like that could be considered ayatullah.
Now ask your teacher, what is dua?
So in Islam, there are three major forms of prayer. There is salat, there is dua, and there is dhikr. Salat is anytime you praise God. Anytime you say God is great, God is cool, I like God, God's number one fan, that's salat. Dua is anytime you ask God for something. So asking God for mercy, asking God for guidance, asking God for help, that is considered dua. Dhikr, on the other hand, is broken up into two further categories. So we have dhikrullah, which is just the remembrance and the cognizance of Allah. When we're talking about ayats outside of the Quranic context, recognizing those ayats on a continual basis is considered dhikrullah. The other one, I just call tasbih because it's what you do on a tasbih, and that is reciting names, reciting words, reciting mantras as a form of prayer. So what Ismailis call dua is the mandatory prayer for Ismailis, recited 3 times a day, sunrise and sunset, and it consists of 7 Quranic chunks. 2 of them are full surahs, and the rest are just various clusters of ayats. So it's a Quranic recitation with some dua sprinkled in. That's what Ismailis call the dua.
What is tasbih?
Tasbih is obviously the beads on a string that you use to pray. So calling the names of Allah, calling the names of the Prophet. But what Ismailis call tasbih is often a secondary prayer to the dua and is mostly dua. Tasbih is where Ismailis ask for guidance, ask for protection, ask for safety, ask for help from Allah. They call it tasbih, but it is mostly dua.
What is bandagi?
This is how you know this was made by brown people. Bangi is a tradition of meditation, but it's not as codified as dua or tasbih. People will claim that there are specific ways you need to do it. I had a teacher that said your eyes need to be in this position, your tongue needs to be in this position in order to properly fulfill bandagi. And I think that's because a lot of bandagi comes from the Hindu tradition, and you also need to align your chakras. There's mantras involved, silent mantras involved. And codifying bandagi into a communal practice is something that was, until like just a few years ago, just done by the South Asian Imamat. Most of the Ismailis didn't even practice that. While meditation exists in many religions around the world, the specific practice of bandagi has its roots in Hinduism.
Ask your teacher, what is didar?
Didar is meeting with the imam. This could be a physical meeting where you're in the same room, or it could be a spiritual didar, either through the practice of bandagi, which is what most people think about when they think of spiritual didar, or just, in my opinion, resonating with the guidance that the imam provides.
What is farman?
Farman comes from, I think, Persian, and it means command. Farman is the guidance that the imam gives. I'm surprised Farman is so late in this song because it's such a defining characteristic of Ismailis specifically. The whole point of being an Ismaili is that you have an imam that you can get guidance from. The role of the imam is to interpret the message that was revealed in the Quran. So he's not getting a new message from God, because only prophets get messages from God, but he is contextualizing the message that was received. And so the Faramin are a reflection of that message.
What is ginan?
These guys are brown. Ginan is one of the many literary traditions of the Ismailis. So about 1,000 years ago, Pir Nur Muhammad went to India from Cairo, and he decided that he was going to adopt Hindu mythology in order to make Muslim literature. And he decided that the Imam was, in his headcanon, the 10th incarnation of Vishnu. And so a lot of Ghanaic literature is about this idea of incarnation. It's about this idea of apocalypse. It's about this idea of being saved. And this is what you need to do to be saved, right? You need to show up to Jamaat Khana. You need to pay money. You need to, do weird stuff. I don't read a lot of Ghanans. I'm not a fan of Ghanans. The previous Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, did a lot of overhauling of Ghanan. He changed a lot of the wording of Ghanans. He outright banned a lot of Ghanans. Ghanan is largely an oral tradition. So even though you're not publishing Ghanans, they're still being recited by people who remember them. They're still being passed around by people who have written them down at home. And so we still have these remnants of Hindu mythology in our Ghananic tradition. I've heard that at the Institute of Ismaili Studies, there's an entire archive of Ghanans that are completely banned and not even allowed to be studied. So if that's true, hey, if you are watching this and you work for the Institute of Ismaili Studies, let me in. I've sent in like 5 applications. You can just let me in. It's fine. I won't try to find your secret Ghanan stash. Just let me in.
Ask your teacher, what is Iman?
Iman is faith. That's it. Strength of faith. Iman is what you believe and how much you believe it.
Who is Mu'min?
People who follow the Imam.
Who is Imam?
This probably should have came before Mu'min. Prophets are the people who receive the message from Allah and deliver it to the people. But prophets don't last forever. Most Muslims believe that we're not getting any new prophets. So the Imam's job is, after the prophet is gone, to contextualize the message as the world changes and to make sure that the message is compatible with the world in which the people who follow the message live. That's it. That's the whole song. Do I win? There's a whole archive of Ismaili nursery rhymes, and I have some like old school Ismaili storybooks for children. So I wonder if I should go through those as well. I grew up with Ismaili nursery rhymes. We had the little cassettes from Jamaat Khana. So this is one that I don't remember hearing. And I feel like my teachers would answer these questions in ways that were not satisfactory to 5-year-old Akil. I don't want to rag on the South Asian tradition. I was raised in the South Asian tradition. It doesn't resonate with me personally. That's why I sort of, I'm hard on it. But I think, especially now that the global Jamaat is more connected, we can afford to be more inclusive of all Ismaili traditions because there's not that many of them. As someone that was raised in the South Asian tradition, I think this is too South Asian-y, not including Dais, which I think are more impactful than the peers on the global Jamaat. That could have been good. So thanks for watching it. If you like this, leave a like down below. There's other nursery rhymes and children's books that I would love to go through and sort of deconstruct. And if you didn't like it, if you subscribe for my Harry Potter content, go follow me on TikTok. There's more there.